Eskom is giving an update on the 2025-26 summer outlook and details of the company's operational performance. The company's executives at Megawatt Park have joined Group Chief Executive Dan Marokane for the media briefing. Let's listen in.
On 011 800 4000. Thank you. Hoping you have a pleasant stay with us, and we are hoping to see you in the future.
Okay, thank you. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen in the room and members of the public and our most important stakeholders, the media. Welcome to our Eskom's system or power system briefing or media briefing as we're going to share with you today the 2025-2026 summer outlook. We just completed our winter on the 31st of August, and I'm sure that you know that we completed our winter with only 26 hours of load shedding. Almost done it, but we are on obviously the right path to ensure that we end load shedding. Just to introduce myself, I am Daphne Mukwena. I'll be the adjudicator and facilitating this media briefing today. And my role in Eskom, I'm the Eskom spokesperson. And this is an opportunity that I also will introduce our panel members that have joined us today. And I would like to start with our Honorable Minister, Dr. Khosi Ensu Ramokgopa, who is the Minister of Electricity and Energy and our shareholder as well. Welcome, Minister. And next to the Minister is the Eskom Chairman or Board Chairman, Dr. Mteto Nyati. Welcome, Chairman. Next to the Chairman, it is the man of the house. It is our Group Chief Executive, Mr. The last time we said Professor, maybe we should keep it that way, Dan Marokane. And next to Dr. Dan Marokane is our Acting Group Executive for Distribution. We do have a flower amongst, I don't want to say amongst that, Ms. Agnes Mlambo. And next to Ms. Agnes Mlambo, it is our Group Executive for Generation, Mr. Begi Ngumalo. And next to him, it is our Interim Chief Executive. Look at how he's looking at me. Our Interim Chief Executive for the NTCSA, Ntate Monde Bala. Now, without wasting any time, I think amongst us, we also have our Eskom members who have joined and will be supporting the panel members. And we do have some board members that should be in the midst of us as well, who would be also supporting the team. And we do have other colleagues from the ministry as well joining us today, supporting us in this event where we are presenting our state of the system. Without wasting any more time, I would like to call upon the Eskom chairman to do or give us some remarks and also introduce the Minister of Electricity and Energy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daphne, for those that welcome. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, the Eskom members, Honorable Minister. We've got some board members here and also the members of the media. And I also would like to say good afternoon and greet the viewers back at home. So, as we update you today on the summer outlook, I thought I would use this opportunity today to kind of reflect back a little bit on the 3-year journey of the board. I know I don't have the whole day to do that, but as we come to the end of the term of this board, I think it is important for us to take a step back and just reflect on the journey of the 3 years. You know, when we landed here, it was in October 2022. It was a business that was really in a crisis in many ways. From an energy standpoint, we were unable as a company to live our purpose. You know, we've got a clear purpose of powering growth sustainably, and unfortunately, at that time, we were unable to live that purpose. We were facing a crisis in many, many areas. When you're looking at our balance sheet, it was challenged, it was very weak. When looking at the culture of the business, the culture was quite dysfunctional in many ways. The reliability of our plant, the plants were extremely unreliable. And of course, we all know that we also were facing a huge amount of corruption and criminality within the business. These are all the systemic issues that this board found when it landed here. And together, of course, we were appointed by the ministry, together with the Ministry of Energy and Electricity, we have actually moved the company to be at a different place. Just one of the few things that I just would like to highlight during this period. When you look at the leadership of the company, there was so much instability. There were many people that were acting. It was left, right, and center. Everybody you look around, they were acting, which is never a good thing. Because if you've got many people that are in acting capacity, you do not have decision making. Decision making is slow. We also had, if I can just be open, that we had people that were not necessarily in the best positions, given their capabilities. So we had to go and address all of that. Of course, we started by making sure that we had the right leader at the top, Professor Marokane. He has provided that stability, and what he has done as well is to make sure that he builds a very solid team around him. You know, and one of the things that is very important for any leader is to surround himself or herself with capable leaders. Look at his ExCo is a very, very strong ExCo. People that have got very, very deep expertise in their areas of specialization. And that is what we need to have a sustainable business. And what they have also done is to make sure that at a power station level, through our head of generation, who is Beke Ngomalo, who has done an exceptional job in helping us with the execution of the generation recovery plan. What they have done is to make sure that we've got capable leaders in the power stations as well. And that is what our employees need, to have people that can provide them with the right kind of leadership, provide them with the guidance, provide them with the support, to create an environment where they look forward to becoming to work. You know. Then they come here, they bringing their A game. And this is what we're beginning to see within Eskom through, of course, the leadership of Dan. It was no surprise for us last year when we were told that Eskom is one of the top employers, has been recognized as a top employer. This is not the same Eskom that we found here, where there were many people who were highly demotivated, disengaged, really not even being excited to be known to be employees of Eskom. And this is what leadership means, creating an environment where people feel like they want to take this company to another level. So very, very strong leadership driven by Dan. Having a culture of accountability. Yes, accountability. That was one of the big problems that we're having in this organization. People not taking the accountability. And that's leading to the high performance that we're seeing here. And indeed, if you were to be reading back then, articles about Eskom, you would hear a reference of people, all of the employees being painted as if they are criminals, when in reality we've got really, really great people in this organization. People that are committed, people that are ethical, and people that really love this company. And this is what we see now, an organization where if there are things that are wrong, those things get reported, and making sure that through the office of the CEO, action gets taken. So I think at the time we had an EAF around about 50%, and sometimes less than 50%. It was really a crisis.
All right, live visuals there from Megawatt Park. Eskom is updating on the 2025-26 summer outlook and details of the company's operational performance. We'll take you quickly now to Megawatt Park, where the minister is currently briefing. Let's listen in.
Infrastructure, addressing the issues of technical losses, ensuring that we roll out smart meters to all consumers, including those that are illegally connected, so that we formalize them. And then we are able to ensure that we protect the revenue streams of Eskom and municipalities. So we're doing it jointly with the municipalities. Again, we finished the DAA. It has gone through the governance committees of Eskom. It's coming to me, then we go to cabinet. We have canvassed the rest of municipalities, and they are happy to be part of this intervention. And then the other issue, the third front, as I conclude, is the issue of affordability of electricity. I've made the point ad nauseum that electricity is unaffordable. It has reached proportions where the situation is untenable. Households are finding it very difficult to keep up with the increases, rapid erosion of their disposable income. Companies are becoming more and more uncompetitive. So again, it's another existential problem. So we are revising the electricity pricing policy, and of course, I mean, you can imagine the complexity of that conversation, but we'll be initiating that discussion, and our intention is that by the first half of next year, we'll have concluded this, because it requires robust and thoroughgoing discussion. So it's not a review that is only isolated to smoke-filled boardrooms and the enlightened. We must go to every corner of the country, canvass the rural men and women, people living in informal settlement, peri-urban areas, on how best we can design this. Of course, we've done all of our modeling. We have an appreciation, but it's important that we are able to democratize this intervention. So I really want to say that we are in a good place. The IRP has gone to cabinet. We're just cleaning one or two things, and I'm happy that by the end of this month, IRP was in our integrated resource plan, in short, is our electricity plan. I am happy that finally, after 2 years of robust public consultations, now it's reached its finality. We are accelerating the gas master plan. You know, it has gone out for public consultations, and of course it's coming back to us. We do accept that we are confronted with a gas cliff, meaning that our resources in relation to the molecules coming to is rapidly being depleted. Gas supports about 5% of the country's economy. Over 300,000 people are employed by industries that relies on gas. Again, another existential problem. You will see how we deal with it in the IRP. So we do understand the urgency of the moment. We are going to address that. And then the last one is the reforms. So we're entering a new era, a new dispensation. We've embedded them, these reforms. That is a complete remake of the electricity value chain in the country, generation, transmission, and distribution. The first elements of them they display themselves on the midpoint of that value chain, which is the transmission. That's why the NTCSA is into existence. We're working on the elements that are expected of a truly autonomous NTCSA. And I want to say that the reforms are irreversible, and it's in the nature of the reforms. It's a nascent stage. There's going to be friction between the players, but I want to give assurance that the reforms are irreversible. But the nature of the reforms will ensure that the poor are not left behind. Eskom continues to be a backstop. What do I mean by backstop? When everything else fails, we're all going to go to Eskom to give us the electricity. I always make the point, I want to repeat the point I made the last time. There is no person who's going to invest in new generation capacity with the sole intention of providing for the poor. It is the state that must provide, if you like, the guardrails to protect the poor, and we are using Eskom as a vehicle to do that. So the complexities of the situation requires a carefully orchestrated intervention in how the pace and scale of the reform. So I want to congratulate Dan and the team. You have done exceptionally well. Of course, we must get to a stage where we say this load shedding is behind us. But like I said, the structural load shedding is something that we have addressed, and now we're looking to build sufficient headroom to ensure that the economy gets to grow by those proportions of 2% plus. We need electricity. Electricity must lead, and the rest of the economy will come on the back of reliable, affordable, and accessible electricity. So congratulations as we unveil the summer plan. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
All right, live visuals there from Megawatt Park. Eskom updating on the 2025-26 summer outlook and details of the company's operational performance. Key take home, Eskom forecasts no load shedding for the summer outlook that's starting 1st September to 31st March 2026. A recovery from last summer's 13 days of load shedding when electricity was supplied at 96%. We see now the CEO Dan Marokane taking to the podium, so also about to address. Let's listen in a bit.
Good afternoon to all those who have joined us online. Good afternoon to the guardians from wherever you are watching, to the board members who have also joined us. Minister, thank you very much for your continuous support and presence, and the same goes to our chairman, Mteto Nyati. We are at the point where, as we have said before, coming to account for our performance and also give you a sense of where we are headed as a business along our journey of the turnaround, but it's also a turnaround of the business as a whole. We have chosen to really focus on the operational aspects this time, because in a matter of a few weeks we'll be back engaging with South Africa when we release our annual financial statements, and we can go deeper into the aspects of our business strategy. So today we're really going to reflect on the winter plan and the winter performance that has just come to an end, and also give you a sense of what is lying ahead of us as we get into the summer. So if I may just start off by putting a peg in as far as some of the key messages are concerned, it will be very evident from the data that we share with you that as a business, we have made significant progress in addressing the electricity supply constraints. And many of you will attest to this because we are feeling it. We are feeling it with the absence of load shedding in comparison to what we have had in the last 3 years, in the last 2 years. And this we can attest as outcomes of our very focused execution of the Generation Recovery Plan. When you relate to our experiences back in 2023, you can see that those days were characterized by a very high number of load shedding, very low energy availability factors, high diesel expenditure of some 30 billion, and over the period in review, which is a 3-year window that we are now chatting about, we have seen the energy availability factor increase to an average of 61 year to date. And in the data that we'll share with you, you'll see that number is now very close to 70% target that we have set for ourselves. Our diesel expenditure is still significantly lower than its peak. It is varying, and from time to time there is some reliance on pulling a little bit more on it, but it's well within our budget in terms of how we run these peakers. We have also recovered some 8 gigawatts of capacity, and this, we have to think about it, is capacity within our installed plants, capacity which was almost condemned and regarded as never being able to assist us. So as a country, we have really recovered 8 gigawatts, which is an equivalent of a Medupi and another station combined, that we are now able to benefit from. We have in the process also added some just under 400 megawatts of IPP renewable production. It's important that as we go further on, the delivery of these renewable projects to increase the country's capacity happens on schedule, as the entire system planning now becomes more crucial. As we keep focusing on the gains that we have made in the Generation Recovery Plan, sustaining the benefits that we have seen, it's important that we also start addressing other aspects within the value chain. The distribution space requires us to deal with illegal connections that are cheating us of revenue, but also that are placing service provision to our customers in an untenable position. So we have to deal with the aspects of load reductions that comes on the back of these illegal connections. We have to deal with the illicit tokens that are undermining our revenue, a revenue that we desperately require so that we can work down the debt levels that we have as a business and reinvest in the upkeep of our infrastructure. Whilst we do this, it's very important that the team in our generation business keeps their focus on ensuring that the gains that we have made from EAF recovery are not lost. And this is the focus that Peggy has, and will unpack to you how we intend to continue along that path. The DAA is an important tool for us, the Distribution Agency Agreement. It is a temporary mechanism that enables us to retard the growth in the municipality debt and allows us to recover some of these costs, whilst at the same time, in partnership with the municipalities, will enable them or assist them in building the requisite capabilities to run the electricity departments properly, and also to ensure that their ability to recover and to collect revenue is improved. This is a partnership approach that we really want to take to try to address this challenge. And lastly, around sustaining the gains, the NTCSA itself is flat out preparing for the rollout of the TDP. They have their own targets as they build up to the optimal plateau of construction on an annual basis, and they are readying themselves to also facilitate a smoother process of the ITP that has been announced. So you can see we are a business at work in dealing with what is visible, which is your lights, but also preparing for the embedding of the reforms that are underway, and also positioning ourselves as a business to exist in that competitive market in a manner that takes advantage of our own capabilities. In the long term, our sustainability will arise when we are able to exist as a business in a space where tariff increases are even low. So we are very clear around this. It's a single-digit tariff environment that we are planning for ourselves. It does call for us to continue to look for cost savings within the business, and we are driving that aspect. At the same time, it requires of us to focus on a risk-based transition into low energy mix. We have to approach this from a perspective of addressing all components of the energy trilemma, which is in the first instance the energy security, and then dealing with the issues of energy affordability and dealing with the aspect of sustainability that comes from the technologies that we use. And in our own strategy, we're now pivoting to really addressing all these three aspects as we go through the next few years. We engage with all the changes in the markets that are underway, and we do so to ensure that in the end, South Africans are protected from unintended consequences, and hence our emphasis on making sure that it's a controlled transition, it's a reform that is driven by rules, and we are very happy that the regulator is leading this process of ensuring that rules are understood, rules are developed, and all of us participate under the leadership of the NERSA to ensure that the environment to which we are moving is predictable, is able to give investors confidence about the space that we are moving in, and everybody understands the lay of the land. So those are the key messages coming from the discussion that we are going to take you through today. See, the slide's now stuck. If you give me a second. What are some of the key KPIs that we've used to assess the period under review? You can see it for yourself. Of the 153 days of the winter period between April and end of August, we were able to supply electricity continuously for 97% of the time. 97% depicted by the 149 days that we indicate there. The 26 hours that we were not able to provide electricity continuously to all South Africans were as a result of glitches, all of those emanating from slippages from the execution of our outages, and we have since set ourselves, done some course correction to attend to those, and this will be a very important aspect as we go into the summer period. We have also seen the results of interventions from the distribution business, of focusing on reducing energy losses, illegal connections, zero bias, and our energy loss percentage is down compared to the previous year, and it's well within the targets that we have set ourselves. We want to drive this number down because when we do so, we collect the appropriate revenues that are going to enable us to not be entering markets to borrow to support the business in all other facets of it. We've brought back online 794 megawatts of capacity from Unit 4 at Medupi, and for this we are very thankful and grateful to our technical teams, execution teams at Medupi. This is a unit that is now back using a second-hand generator, a decision that was taken by our own teams having technically evaluated the options, a decision that has expedited the return and availability of this unit. The new unit will arrive, it will be a spare for both our Medupi and Kusile teams, but it is the ingenuity of our teams that has delivered on this capability, and we are very thankful and always proud to have them. We have our EAF now beginning to ratchet towards our target of 70% in the period under review. This is now standing at 66%. I'm very comfortable that when you see the data in a slide or two down the line, that we are really getting close to that point. The next target is to stay at that point continuously. Our efforts for enabling universal access are also ongoing. We have electrified just over 13,500 households. Our task is still significant in this regard, as we want to drive that number down from the 94% of universal access to the 99% in the period of the next 2-3 years. So our focus remains there. The element of the renewables, I've already spoken about it in terms of the connections that we have dealt with. A picture speaks 1,000 words, so I got to learn. This is a depiction of what has happened with load shedding since the winter of 2023. You can see 2023 dominated by the intensity of stage 6 in black, very significant stage 4 prominence, and the picture is essentially the same when you look at the summer of 2023-2024, and a long period, 9 months to be specific, of no load shedding that we enjoyed as the generation recovery plan began to start yielding results. We have those glitches in the summer 2024-25. We have explained what was behind that. We have sought to attend to it, and a little bit of glitches in the 26 hours of the winter 2025. Our goal is to keep this picture so that it reminds us of how good looks like when you don't have anything in the periods on your x-axis, and drive that as long as possible. This achievement, as I indicated, is against a reduction in the consumption of diesel. So we need to put to bed the thought that we've been able to keep the lights going as a result of burning the diesel machines very, very, very hard. That is not the case. Our diesel pickers are used precisely to enable us to have capacity and flexibility at the points where there's unexpected performance deteriorations. But by and large, you can see that this is coming from the contribution of our broader generation fleet, and that's depicted on the slide. When you look from winter 2023 to where we sit now in August, an effective 6 gigawatts recovered from the installed capacity. That figure of unplanned losses peaked at about 18 gigawatts at some point just before the winter 2023. It's now averaging in August, average down to 10%. And on your right, you can actually see the weekly data for the August month that we've just come out of, with that number reaching as low as 8.4%. At for some days, we've actually gone sub 7 gigawatts, and this is the quality of the reliability that we're getting now from our fleet. We've had close to 38 units performing at EAFs above 80%, and that's really the kind of space that we want to be in on a continuous basis. Of course, as we now are in a space where sufficient capacity is recovered, the focal point will increase and intensify in making sure that reliability is what we deal with and have under control on a continuous basis. Last year, or just before the winter, we said to you that our prognosis was that we are going to have a winter whereby in the event of us being at 14,000 gigawatts or 14,000 megawatts of UCLF, we are going to experience or anticipate a day of load shedding at stage 2. In reality, what panned out is that we experienced 4 days of load shedding at stage 2, and as I indicated, those were contained to effectively 26 hours, which was load shedding in hours in the evenings as we were dealing with the evening peak. I'm showing you this so that you can start getting into seeing the pattern of how close we're coming to our predictions, and so as to give you comfort with the forecast that we'll show you very briefly regarding the summer. But let's also discuss what's different this summer compared to last summer. As we entered the summer this year, we have some 1.4 gigawatts of additional dispatchable capacity. We didn't have this last year. We now have the benefit of Medupi 4, Ekusile 6. We have, from our planning perspective, we are going to be peaking at a lower level in terms of the maximum capacity taken out at any point in time in summer for doing maintenance. Last year, that number peaked just under 10,000 megawatts, and this year it will be under 8,000 megawatts, releasing some 2 gigawatts of capacity as we go into the summer. You can also see that the unplanned breakdowns as we enter the summer at this point in time compared to last year are at about 10.1 gigawatts. I've also shown you the profile of August that is sitting at 8.4 and should be even better. The lower it gets, the more capacity and headroom we get from that perspective. So altogether, we're entering this summer with some headroom of some 4 gigawatts that should enable us to do our maintenance in a much more staggered route, less risky, so that we can deal with the variability of summer, both from the heavy rains that affect our entire value chain from the coal mines, but also impacts on the quality of operations in the power stations, and the heat that affects some of our stations that have got some vacuum losses. We are readying ourselves for the surprises that come with the variability of weather when it comes into the summer, and we're feeling much more comfortable from our starting point and the capacity that we have. It is for that reason, colleagues, that when we look at the outlook for summer for this year, and you can see across all three scenarios that we've kept very constant for your ease of reference and checking, we foresee no load shedding for the cases that where our unplanned losses remain below 15,000. We have comfortably stayed at 13,000. We are at 14,000. There's no indication of this being a strenuous point, nor at 15,000 itself. So our trick and our focus with the generation colleague is to make sure that we remain at the low levels of unplanned losses that we have seen and are trending as indicated. Again, the headroom that we have created for ourselves with the 4 gigawatts that we are having at our disposal as we enter into the summer compared to last year is essentially the arsenal that's making us to be comfortable to give you this projection. When we are on the other side of the summer, we will be able to reflect back on the 2 instances of the winters that we have traversed with the Generation Recovery Plan implementation and the 2 summers around it, and we'll be able to give you even more concrete and more firmer forecast of where we headed as a country from our ability to meet demand at all times. There's also a question that needs to be addressed, and that question is one that says, if the economy has to suddenly pick up to the point of the 2% GDP growth as anticipated, will we have enough electricity to meet demand? And this graph shows you that the red line remains below the capacity that is available up to the point of 2031, financial 2031. So we're comfortable that even with the uptick of the economy, we should be able to continue to meet our demand. And as the Minister said, you have to have electricity supply to stimulate confidence in investment that will take up the utilization and then grow the economy. But there is a message that we also want to send here. And that message is one that says the capacity that is anticipated for 2030, 2031 needs to come. That capacity is dominated by production or capacity from the IPP programs of the Section 34 and the IPP programs or the independent programs coming from private arrangements. It's important that we now begin to shine some spotlight in how we are moving as a country in bringing that capacity on. From an Eskom perspective, our gas-to-power project is quite important in this space, and also the conversion of our existing diesel machines to gas firing. So as we move into the latter part of this planning horizon, the flexibility of our coal stations become an issue that we need to monitor very closely with the increase in the penetration of the renewables projects. And Monda will show you the variability that we tend to experience on a daily basis when we go into more renewables and having to pick up that capacity from our base load stations. I'll at this point invite my colleagues who are the ones who are actually doing this work. I only come to present it. Who are from generation. Becky will deal with the generation portion of our overview. Agnes will deal with the aspects of our distribution business, and Monda will deal with the NTCSA's forecast before I return to sum up our conversations.
All right, live visuals there from Megawatt Park, Eskom updating on the 2026 summer outlook and details of the company's operational performance. Key takes homes from that address. Eskom in their summer outlook forecasts no load shedding. This is from the 1st of September to the 31st of March 2026. The forecast is attributed to generational structural improvements Energy availability factor has increased from 55% in 2023, moving to 60.6% in 2024, and year-to-date it's at 61.1%, most certainly a big improvement. Then on the diesel expenditure, very topical one, it has been reduced from 33 billion in the 2024 financial year to about 17 billion in this financial year. Minister of Electricity, Dr. Hosienza Ramakgopa, a bit earlier on, also touching on another talking point, the high cost of electricity, conceding that that situation is untenable, saying that they're working on certain interventions to alleviate that pressure, and also indicating that on gas, they're accelerating their gas master plan. That briefing continues. We'll have one of our reporters give us a summation as soon as they've concluded.